When the pool arrives, make sure that you check all the parts against the pool checklist. Read the instructions carefully and you're ready to go. Firstly, prepare the site. At this stage, the area has been dug out and levelled to get it as smooth as possible. It wants to be within 20 millimetres of level all round. The more level, the better. The pool we're showing is the Big 6 model. Next, assemble the side supports for the Big 6 pool. The diagonal brace is tightened onto the pool vertical, the base channel is at the bottom and a support member at the back. A 20 by 12 Big 6 pool requires 4 of these supports, 2 on each side. Make sure all the bolts are firmly tightened and washers fitted. This is the pressure plate being assembled. It comes in 2 pieces for this size pool. They're joined together and then bolted onto the base channel. The purpose of the pressure plate is to save stress on the side supports. The pressure plate is screwed to the base channel and this is held into place by 4 self-tapping screws. The hot-dip galvanised steel used for the parts will last indefinitely. Roughly mark out the location for the pool and prepare the area for the supports. You can, if you wish, dig the hole bigger to include the supports, but in this case we decided to dig back into the bank and this will result in less backfilling. Check the overall measurement from one pressure plate to the other. The point to remember here is to make sure that you've allowed enough space to move the side supports back as far as you want to. The supports should be opposite each other. The base channels are dug into the ground to make sure the height is correct and all is level and that the vertical supports are square. Levelling is the most important part. We can't emphasise greatly enough the importance of how level the pool site should be. When the level seems correct, recheck that with the moving of the side supports you haven't altered the pressure plate measurements. Checking the diagonal measurement will tell you if the framework is square. Fill in any areas around the pressure plate. Mix 6 of premix to 1 of cement. Your instruction book fully informs you of how much premix or cement is required, and a good mix of about 6 to 1 will have enough strength. It's got to be packed right around the base channels and along the base channel sides. This will harden in 24 hours to give enough rigidity to enable you to carry on installing the pool. Wipe the cement off the side diagonal braces and vertical supports, especially if the pool is above ground. This pool is in the ground by 450 millimetres and it will be backfilled, so it's not important. Measure the radius of the pool, which is half the distance from the 2 pressure plates. Each pool is different. A 15-foot pool will have a bigger radius than a 12-foot pool. Mark it out with a screwdriver. Lay the rails out roughly and make sure that they're level. Remove high spots from around the pressure plates. Put the connector onto the rail. When you're doing this, leave a gap of about 32 millimetres between each connector to start with. This is because you may need to close the connector plate up or open the connector plate out to fit the pool wall. Make sure the ground is smooth and free from stones. When the track is being laid around the pool, dismantle the pressure plates from the base channels and pack underneath with soil. Endeavour to ram this firm because you don't want any movement after the pool has been up for a while, nor hollows in your liner. Fit in the side support rails. A tip here, you might have to push the lug of the connector plate down to get the rail through the connector plate far enough to tap back into position to the other vertical post. Fix the base channel and pack around it. Pack the pressure plate and screw it back on, then you're ready to assemble the pool wall. At this point, we recommend that you assemble the ladder to get into the pool. A piece of hardboard underneath the wall will help it move more easily. The wall comes with green one side and brown on the other side. This particular pull will be brown side out, and if you want the green, you've just reversed the wall. As you can see, all the base channels have been just about covered over and rammed solid, and the little hollows are filled in. The site preparation is a most important part, and it's worth spending the time to get it right. Put some soil into the hollows of the pressure plate to help the packing, then simply flip it over. Uncoil the wall and start it on a connector so that the bolts can be hidden. It's a one-piece metal wall and it's slotted into the track. Handy tip, a rake will hold the wall while running it into the track. It's recommended that you don't erect your pull in windy conditions, as wind will make it very difficult to handle the walls. The wall is one piece, so it's quite heavy, and it's better to have some help. If you're installing a pull into the ground, you must put your vertical post onto the connector first. If you don't do this before you put the wall in, you'll have to dig out the area around the connector plates to put the verticals on. The other thing to remember, of course, is to make sure that you have even gaps in the connectors all the way around. If the wall is a bit short, it means closing the connectors up slightly so the wall will come in. If the wall is too long, you open up the joint on the connector plate a wee bit more. When it meets correctly, do up the bolts with washers on both sides. Tape the bolt cover strip over the bolts to protect the liner from rubbing against the bolts. Temporarily install the seats on the main vertical support and also on each corner. Make sure the sides are straight and parallel. If not, move the rail in or out so you've got both sides looking straight. Build an earth coving around the pull, approximately 150mm, and pack tightly. This allows for easier vacuuming. It also stops the liner from being pushed into the corners of the pull, which may cause damage at a later stage. As all pulls have an SP1500 skimmer fitted, we're going to do the cutting out of the skimmer hole now, so that any filings from the wall won't get behind the liner. They can be pushed into the sand and covered up. Scribe out for the SP1500. The rail has been put on to get the level where the skimmer should go. A pair of nibblers will cut out the hole. The plate has a cutaway for the hinges which goes to the bottom. This will give you the position of where to drill the holes to bolt the skimmer onto the pull. Mark the eyeball returns which will be returned from the filter to the pull. Use a chase punch and a pair of vice grips to tighten up. It will punch out a nice neat hole. This method of plumbing has the advantage of not having to have the filter close to the pull. In this installation, the filter is away in a shed. Tramp down the sand all over the pull and make it stone free and smooth. Use the ground cover, which is black polythene, and stops any acidities from the soil affecting the vinyl layer. Tape the edges of the ground cover around the pull. Now take the seats off the pull and put the liner into place. Start at one end and hold it with the plastic coping strips. It's very important that you get the liner straight. There are a few wrinkles at the moment, but with the sun on it, it should smooth out. Now start running 25mm of water into the pull and smooth out the wrinkles on the bottom, pushing the wrinkles to the sides or the ends. Have the same amount of liner overhang all around the pull. Liners have marked seams and these help to get it straight. The liner at this stage is smooth on the floor and there's a surplus on the wall which is removed by taking the coping off and pulling the liner up. Now you can continue to fill the pool, and if the liner is loose, just keep pulling it up over the side, fixing it with a plastic coping. A few wrinkles are normal, but by stretching the liner, the wrinkles will disappear. It will take quite a while to fill the pool, but remember to check it periodically. You want it approximately 600 millimeters deep before you can put the top rail on. The verticals are installed with a self-tapping screw into the bottom of the tag. If the pool is in ground, you would fit the verticals before you put the wall into the track. As you can see, the liner is nicely folded up at the edges so the rail can be fitted in between the uprights and joined together by the grey connector plate. The gap for the top rail should correspond with the gap on the bottom rail. Screw the connector plate into position on the vertical. The little tab there holds the rail in place. Put the seats on loosely, making sure that they line up. A plastic cover plate covers the connector and the seats. That's held by way of a self-tapping screw, then the plastic cap. The next step is to put in the plumbing fittings. Cut out the hole in the liner. Fix the eyeball through. Add the washer and lock nut to hold the eyeball in position. It's important to make sure they're tight. Now fit the SP1500 faceplate with a gasket on the inside and one on the outside. The skimmer is fitted and bolted up nice and tight. The filter is in a shed. It's a Paramount 450 with powerful Paramount pump. Place the bolts into the top of the tank so that the sand doesn't get into the holes. A plastic bag over the tube will stop any sand from going down inside the tank. The sand is then fed into the tank. Once this is done, the O-ring is fitted on the tank and then the valve assembly is fitted. Bolt down, but not too tight. The filter is hooked up to the pump. The pipe runs from the shed to the skimmer and then to the return along the side of the pool. When gluing 40mm PVC pipe, make sure you glue both surfaces and twist the pipe to get a good join. The PVC piping we're using is a solid 40mm D-glass. Before covering any pipework over, run the unit to check for any leaks. Other methods of plumbing with the Paramount 450 for above ground pools are available. The method shown here is one used on all pool installations. All that remains now is to fill the pool with water and we're ready for swimming. All the instructions for pool assembly come with your kit. If you'd like more information, please ask your pool consultants.